So, Mr. Carson, why is it that you're interviewing a criminal on trial? Isn't that unnecessary?
It's an interesting story, and I have a feeling there's something deeper here. I just need to find out. Wait, are you recording this? Stop. Stop wasting the storage. Hi, I'm Dean Carson, here to interview Mr. Vickers and the other officers on this case.
Oh, right, you're from the Foxhole Weekly, right?
That's the one.
Yeah, I'm Detective Charles Scarn. I was showing you and finding my partner somewhere around here.
Excellent. I'd love to get started.
Show you to the interrogation room. Follow me.
If you could send in Captain Artie Green first, we'll start with him.
Will do. You'll be right in here.
Thank you.
Hello, Dean. Captain Artie Green. How do you do?
Dean Carson, nice to meet you. This is my lovely assistant, Veronica Nielsen.
Lovely indeed.
Yikes.
My name is Artie Green, and I'm the captain of the Foxhole Police Department.
So, Captain, am I to believe that you were just a detective when you were caught up on the Mendoza case?
That's correct. I was working my first case after my transfer.
Tell me what that was like. What were the details?
Well, I got a call from the chief saying that there were shots fired in a residential park. So I went to investigate. I found a man there who you know to be Detective Charles Scarn, but back then he was just the PI. I thought he was the murderer back to clean up the scene, so I brought him in. And my God, he really knows his way around an interrogation. And, out of pity, I drove him back to his crime scene to get his car and his supplies. But when we got there, the crime scene was gone. So I called the station, and Charles investigated. The only thing he found was a gun pointed at his head. It was the chief. He had Charles by the throat and a gun pointed at his head. He told us that he was a murderer and that he's a drug lord and not to be messed with. But I wasn't going to let Charles die, so out of the goodness of my heart, I saved him. Then we went out for a drink. We've been buds ever since.
Wow, you seem to remember that pretty vividly. What do you know about the chief? How did he come off when you met?
The chief. It was so unexpected. I mean, he was such a nice guy. When I first transferred, he was my favorite guy on the force. He always brought me coffee, and I ate dinner with his family on Wednesdays. I never saw it coming. I know he used to lie to his wife and say he was going on a fishing trip, but I never knew what it was that he was actually doing. He even asked me to go with him once, but I had to visit my mom on the weekend.
Well, thank you for your time, Captain. You can go now. Please send in Charles.
Charles Scarn, detective here.
So, Charles, how was it that you went from a PI to detective in just under a month?
Well, you see, our police department here needed a new captain, and once he left his spot as detective, he needed a new one. Luckily for him, I was around to save his ass from a long job search. So, now instead of hunting down stalkers and perverts, I hunt down serious criminals.
Would you consider yourself the best detective in Foxhole?
Easily.
Then why didn't you see that the chief of police was a drug lord the instant you saw him?
Veronica! Forgive me. My assistant is new to serious investigations.
No, it's okay. I know that I get out of that interrogation a little too easily. I mean, I did threaten the guy, so...
Artie told us that he saved your life. What was that like?
What? He saved my life? I beat the Christ out of the chief, and then I bought his drink. If anything, it's me who saved his ass.
Oh, whatever!
That's how it happened, and you know it.
Well, we didn't really get much from Charles, so today I'm going to talk to the former police chief himself, John Vickers. Hello, Mr. Vickers. Okay, well, let's get started. So, you were a chief of the Foxhole Police Department. So why was it that you were also a drug lord? Didn't you think that someone would find out eventually? Tell me your story.
When I lived in Roswell, my family was low on money. My kids needed school supplies, and I didn't know where our next meal was coming from. So I did what I had to do. I started out selling for a dealer, but I was good, really good. I started my own ring, it skyrocketed. I was proud of where I was. I was making so much money, people couldn't get enough of my drugs. We moved to Foxhole so I could put my sons in private school, to keep them away from the life I had led. Life was good. Then I hired Artie. He was my favorite employee. I trusted him with my life. I even offered him a spot in my ring, but he rejected me. Then he found me suspicious. Then he dug his nose too deep in my business. Him and his dumb PI friend found one of my unsuccessful clients. So I went to silence them. But they overpowered me, and now I'm here.
Wow. Well, it looks like you need to go back now. Thank you so much for this interview.
No. Thank you.
Where'd he go?
What in the hell? What did you do?
Nothing, I swear.
You were on this, weren't you? You're under arrest.
What?
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Here you go, baby. Here you go, baby.
Thanks, Sexy. You're allowed to look at the camera now. You're from the Foxhole Weekly, right? That's the one. Alright. Well, I'm Detective Carson. Hiya, Georgie. I'll float down here. Hello, Mr. Vickers.
You're not Dean. No. Thank you.
You could send in Captain Artie Green first. We'll start with him. We'll do. We'll be right here.
Thank you. This place is so run down. The interrogation room doesn't even have a two-way mirror. It's just a window.
Thank God they even let us in here. The last 3 tribes I've called in to interview, they wouldn't let me. Please state your name and I'll be.
Stay rolling. Okay.
Please state your name and occupation.
My name is Charles Scarn. Once